Hello, this is my review of Stump number 2, which is not out yet as I record this. So if it's not out yet, what's this? This is a proof copy that was sold to me. I had to purchase it. If you want to see more or hear more about what exactly happened in terms of having proof copies, purchasing them, and whatnot, Nathan on the Stump number 2 campaign did put up an update describing the whole process, so I can shorten up my little intro here. I was offered that I could purchase one of the proof copies. Things turned around for Nathan so fast that there was no time to give feedback, and then it's some other things, but basically if I felt like reviewing it, I'm free to, so he gave me a little bit of license. There's no NDA or anything like that, but I'm going to be respectful of Nathan as well. And so this is number 2. As we've seen before, there was number 1, and this was from long ago. Alright, so it's nice to have. It was interesting to flip through that and see all the changes. In fact, a couple little things that were removed from number 1 remastered, which became huge. And some of the fan feedback that I picked up on regarding number 1 remastered was that there are places where the story in number 1 gets a little wordy, like this guy with his YouTube channel. So we see a flashback here, and then we're taken to a guy's YouTube channel. I don't know if that was a complaint about segues so much as other things. Conversation is in number 2 is still kind of humorous. He's got the same humor. I want you guys to know, in every scene where you see this plaid and the plaid has ripples in it, Nathan does that by hand to give shape to the plaid shirt. He spent so many hours doing that. But one of the concerns, I'm going to find a good example, I hope. One of the concerns was, for example, this kind of thing, where we have a flashback with exposition. Now, people pointed at this and said, oh my goodness, like that's a ton of text. That's part of a joke that's in here. So deliberately, yes, that's a ton of text, and Nathan understands. So as far as number 2 goes, this sort of expository flashback is, there's only one that I recall off the top of my head, and it's not like this. In fact, it has a lot nicer art to it in terms of being spread out, flowing across the page. It's not done in the old Spider-Man number 1 style, which is what I call this. It's nothing like this, and it happens once to set up the story that's in the book, but I won't be able to show it to you because I don't want to overspoil anything of Nathan's. So he has already shown off, and look at that! Oh my gosh, look at all the bricks in there. He has said in his update that he's going to edit, I think, some of this stuff, but we've seen these pages. These are part of the campaign. Usually, I'm noticing a lot of the campaigns include the first several pages. So here's our little guy there flying through the air because he's jumping. One of the things that's nice about this is we get to see Stump start to pick up on the drift of some lessons he needs to learn in life. So he's not Superman. He's not totally aspirational, but still able to learn emotionally. He's close to that, but not quite. He is more like Batman in terms of being a detective, but he's definitely not Spider-Man in terms of being the archetype that's the cautionary, cathartic, the guy who screws up and we all learn from his mistakes. He's not that. So here he is, and he is annoyed with people talking. So one of the things, somebody told me he seems to always have the same, in fact I think we've seen this angle before because he's looking up at the robot, but he always seems to have the same scowl on his face as he's walking around. He is a quiet guy. He also very militarily prefers things brief. And we see him grow in those regards. We get to know. Now what's nice about this is, in some of the pages that I really can't show you, we get to see initially a little bit of relationship between him and the robot. This book does pick up literally hours after the end of Stump number 1. One of the things Nathan's doing well in saying a lot of things in a bit of conversation but flows naturally is comments like, I can't read it from here, I can never read while I'm doing these videos, saying, I didn't know you'd sleep for only an hour. So that tells us he's tired. That tells us many things at once. He's tired. This is right after the end of the previous book, and where they're picking up from there, and then they're off to their next thing to deal with, which is this giant worm. It seems that there are places where the layouts were done for a staple-bound book, and so some of the text is a bit close to the gutter there in the middle, if you can see that right there. It's not a huge problem throughout the book, it just happens a couple of times, and there's one particular piece of artwork, let's see, I'm skipping, there we go, where this nice piece of artwork, I know I'm really not spoiling anything by showing this, it comes in just too close to the gutter here, and maybe the margins could have been changed to help accommodate that, but this was initially supposed to be staple bound. It would look great. I think all comic book knit makers nowadays need to plan ahead for things to be bound in a larger volume later, or square bound or whatever. It's a nice homage back cover. There's more of that hand-done plaid right there. Unbelievable. Worked again. I hope he's figured out a way to make it work faster. But the character growth that we get to see, actually I think I can show you this stuff without spoiling too much. We get to see interactions. Nate's doing a really good job of letting us know personality through dialogue. He's a stoic, that is, the quiet, reserved, and some of that shows in a military way, which makes sense because Nathan has a military background. But throughout most of the story here, he shows a concern for other people getting hurt or injured or losing property or things like that. So you have the stoic hero who is quiet, and in fact he's got a flat arc to him. That is, he doesn't change much while the world changes around him. If you think that's illegitimate or an insult, it's not. That's the same arc as Gladiator, the film with Russell Crowe in it. So as he's helping others and doing what he can, he shows that compassion and stoicism aren't incompatible. In his form being that he's just the quiet guy, and he doesn't like a lot of useless chatter. He'd probably hate my reviews. In this particular book, there is one of those endings where, somebody suddenly does something and you wonder what was the logic behind that, and he tells you what the logic behind it was, and it's sort of like, yeah, okay, I probably would have figured the same thing too, and it makes sense. Nice thing about this story in number 2 is it's a good character development in terms of getting to know the people. Not the characters' growth is really huge, but us getting to know them. It's a complete little story, so it can stand on its own, which is nice, and it has little things in it to set up for more going on later in the universe. So totally worthwhile. Glad I'm getting real copies and not just a proof copy. The margin thing isn't going to change, but he did say that on page 9, which I think is this page, he changed one word balloon in proofreading. Okay, I missed it. Don't know what he did. It's probably not like a typo. Anyway, there it is. Thanks for your time.